building a goat shell. Oh my goodness, what has my life come to? I don't know, but gosh, is it fun. Hi, welcome back. This is a speed build that was sped up from a recording from a stream that we did live on twitch.tv/Totesmg. We are building a shell challenge, which basically means that I create a shell of a building and other people, for some reason, try to turn it into something, whether that be a home, a bar, a museum, all kinds of super fun things, and I cannot believe that this is what my first ever shell challenge ended up being. But as part of our donation rewards for our big charity stream back in September, we had the reward of me building a totes shell. And of course, if I was going to do a totes shell, it probably had to be goat shaped just to keep everything, on brand, as it were. And so here I am building a building in The Sims 4 shaped like a goat. And honestly, as fun as all this was, it was also way more challenging than I expected it to be, mainly because of the difficulties around trying to get certain shapes for the rooms that resembled shapes of a goat. And the biggest thing for me that I quickly realized was that diagonal walls in The Sims are apparently just like, I don't know, not a thing? I'm not really sure, but it was very hard just to get a face shape that I liked, and my ears aren't quite perfect, but they work good enough. And I found myself laughing way too much trying to construct the tail end of our goat shell, which ended up being quite a luscious booty after a lot of work trying to get the shapes that I wanted here. But honestly, it was so much fun laughing with our community as we tried to get all of this together, and then also helping to chat about, like, okay, what kind of shapes are we looking for? What is this room going to end up being? How on earth is anyone, let alone myself, going to turn this into workable Sims building? I'm not entirely sure, but as it stands, we ended up doing pretty well. I spent way more time than I needed to trying to get a tail that kind of made sense, and we all agreed that trying to put it too low did not quite work for us. And so we ended up getting the shapes that I was kind of looking for, and here is where I start becoming maybe a little bit demonic in my building, because I didn't really think too far ahead about how these shapes would translate in The Sims, and especially all of my sharp and odd corners. But I also had the conversation of, wait a minute, this might be way too big. How many squares are in these rooms? And what we ended up finding was that some of the rooms are, in fact, very large, and we shrank them a little bit and tried to get them to be maybe more manageable and make sense as living rooms or large entryways. I don't know, but it also meant me trying to figure out ways to make new rooms to add on. For instance, trying to create little horns for the goat, so you could see that it was in fact a goat and not a sheep or some other small livestock animal. But a horn room that small wouldn't even fit a toilet, let alone a door into it. And so it was a lot of trial and error, creating general shapes and then sizing and resizing and trying to find the best way to get everything to fit together so that it kind of maybe made sense. The jury's still out. As I'm recording this audio right now, I still have not completed my own submission for for the shell challenge, and I'm trying to build a blue Suburban because, well, I don't know why. I don't know why I did that to myself. Building a museum or something would be so much simpler, but no, I decided to take this shell and try to turn it into a livable home, and I'll be uploading that video once I complete the build itself another day. But oh my gosh, even just trying to get shapes that were not totally outrageous but could still fit within what we were doing. You can see the occasional emojis from chat that are coming out throughout this build, mostly just a lot of laughter and some booty emotes because, well, this goat does in fact have quite the booty. Eventually I figured out sizing for our horns, but I was annoyed because I couldn't just copy and paste because of the shapes. I had to completely recreate them. My hope was, in theory, why can't I just copy this room and duplicate it? But if I did that, then the shapes wouldn't match together and they wouldn't fit, and so I had to do it all one at a time, which became very annoying to me very quickly. But eventually, look, it looks like a little goat. And I was so proud, and I thought, oh, well, we can't be done yet. Let's add one more little thing. Now that we have our horns and our ears and our hooves and our booty and even a little tail, what else can we add? And so first I had to move things around a little bit, which definitely wasn't the easiest, but we got there. And so I realized as well, if we're going to have a goat, let's give our goat a beard, right? Because even Tammy has a beard, and our boys have some of the best beards ever. And so I started working on this beard, which I have been told has been quite a torturous endeavor for everyone working on this shell, and I have experienced this myself in trying to actually turn a beard into, well, something workable. But we move everything over so that way at least it has some room, and hey, it's starting to look like a little beard, but it didn't quite give me what I was wanting. It kind of felt a little bit too rounded considering how edged everything else was, and there was also so many tiles, and I didn't want this to be a mansion. And we kept kind of looking at, like, okay, what size, how many tiles do we really need to make a not tiny home or small home, but a large house. That was the kind of idea that I was going for, was wanting to have something that was big enough that, you know, you could have multiple levels if you wanted to move the rooms around, and would have, you know, at least one bathroom and bedroom if you were going to go residential, but not so big that it was a mansion just to start off with. And so we started shrinking some things down, and that also meant shrinking down the beard. And I kept looking at it and thinking, no, this might be too simple. Let's give it the pointy bearded feels that our goats' beards have. They're kind of wild, kind of crazy, kind of all over the place. And so the goat beard and all of its pointy edges and corners was born. And with that, we had created, maybe a little cursed, but so much fun, our first ever shell challenge. And we get to actually tour our submissions this week, and I cannot wait. I am so excited. And so if this is the kind of thing that you like, if you do some fun building and shell challenges, I would love to hear down below, what's your favorite shell challenge that you've ever done? How many buildings have you made that just had the worst corner and edges that you realize later on were huge mistakes. And is this something that you might try? Would you ever want to try and do the Totes goat shell? It is up on the gallery if that's something that interests you, and you are welcome to try it even if you don't submit it before the submission date. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that you build something in The Sims today that makes you laugh as much as this did. Bye-bye!